Jonas and his parents attending his grandmother's funeral. Her family is devastated because she was killed by a vicious dog. 4 months later, Jonas's parents are in their car, discussing the father's relationship with his father, Frederick. When they see a lady driving in the same direction as them, the father avoids hitting her by driving into a tree. In the days that follow, Jonas attends his parents' funeral with his friends Flo, Jewel, and Nina. When Nina consoles him, he is overcome by grief. Later, everyone gathers at Frederick's house to pay their respects to the family. Frederick approaches his grandson and tells him that he can stay with him on the island until he is 18 and that he does not have to move to Bavaria with his aunt. Jonas is doing better now that a year has passed. He meets up with his friends on their bikes and rides to school with them. In class, a lady enters and instructs the students to follow her outside. Flo and Jonas appear content to do so. She gathers the children and informs them that their teacher, Mr. Minaker, was injured while on vacation in Mallorca and that she will be their German teacher this year, before introducing herself as Helena Jung. After class, Jonas and Flo are sitting together when Helena approaches them and asks if they are available for the night, as she has recently moved in and requires assistance with her furniture. Nina overhears this and quickly informs her that she, too, can assist. And they've all agreed to meet her at her house after school. Jonas, Flo, and Nina all meet up on the way to Helena's house. Helena is upstairs with the boys, having fun assembling a closet, and Nina is downstairs, cutting the floorboard and struggling with it. Nina walks over to the kitchen storage room and discovers a suitcase with a tag that says Mallorca. Helena walks in and asks what she's looking for. She says she's looking for a piece of wood to help her with the cutting. Helena locates her one, and Nina departs. Helena then realizes she forgot to remove the suitcase tag. The boys and Helena are finally finished with the closet upstairs when Nina walks in with her foot covered in blood. She cut herself while attempting to cut the floorboard. And after Flo takes her to the hospital, Helena returns to the storage room and tears the tag from the suitcase. Later that night, Helena is sitting at her table with pictures of Jonas all over it. She appears to have stalked him previously. She gathers all of the photographs and burns them in the sink. The next morning, Jonas notices Helena running across the beach like him, doing her morning jog. She then asks if he and Nina are dating, and he says no. She appears to be satisfied with his response. Later in class, Helena assigns her students to write a poem similar to the ones Ryliki writes. Nina goes to Jonas' house after class to assist her with the poem. Nina is reciting her poem in Helena's class, and Helena realizes it wasn't written by her. When she questions Jonas about it, he admits that it was him. But she tells him that she liked it anyway, that he's talented, and that if he has anything else he wants to show her, she'll read it. Morning, he runs into Helena. And when he tells her that what they did was wrong, she reminds him that he is an adult who can make his own decisions. When Nina saw them driving side by side, she became suspicious of the teacher. Later in class, Jewel and Nina notice that something is wrong with their teacher and Jonas, and that they are behaving strangely. After class, Nina requests to speak with Helena and informs her that Jonas is the author of her poem, as she feels guilty for taking his credit. A day later, the school is holding a small seminar, and Frederick is giving his speech when he notices Helena, now with short hair, standing in the distance. He appears to have seen a ghost, collapses to the ground in shock, and Jonas rushes to his aid. He is now recovering from his fall at Frederick's house. Nina then informs Jonas that his grandfather witnessed Helena and collapsed from shock. Jonas is perplexed and refuses to believe her. Nina leaves the house frustrated because she is upset. Later that night, Jonas awakens to find Helena sleeping next to him, and she kisses him and initiates sex. When she wakes up the next morning, she tries to leave quietly so as not to wake up Jonas. Nina notices her as she walks out the door and angrily abandons Jonas' breakfast on the front porch. A few hours later, Nina is running with Jewel on the beach, telling her about what happened this morning and what she saw at the seminar. Jewel then tells her that her father told her that he had a teacher who looked exactly like Helena and had the same hair as her. At Frederick's house, Jonas is about to leave for school when his grandfather tells him not to go. He asks him if this is about his teacher, and Frederick quickly brushes it off. He tells him what Nina saw, and he tells him that she must be seeing things. He gives him the breakfast that Nina had prepared for him, and Jonas realizes that Nina saw Helena leave his house in the morning. Nina is now looking for old school yearbooks at school, and when Helena overhears her, she becomes concerned. Nina is browsing the books in the library when she comes across a picture of Helena with a different name, Maria Roth. They have the same appearance. Helena confronts Nina and asks why she came to the island. Fearful that Nina will tell Jonas, she chokes her out and suffocates her to death. Jonas is looking for Nina outside the library when Helena walks out and tells him she hasn't seen her. He believes her and searches for her elsewhere. Helena returns to the library and attempts to conceal Nina's body. She then takes duct tape and a rope and ties the body together with a curtain. She drags her body all the way out to her truck, and when she realizes she has left Nina's bike behind, she returns for it and takes it as well. Jonas meets Jewel and FLO on the beach and asks if they have seen Nina. They inform him that she was at school this morning. Meanwhile, Helena is on the opposite side of the beach, disposing of Nina's body. Later, at Helena's house, she's cutting powder when she receives a text from Jonas saying he needs to meet her right away. The next morning, Jonas is awakened by Frederick, who informs him that they discovered Nina's body at the beach. When they arrive, Nina's mother is devastated, and Frederick collapses again on the ground, and he is taken to the hospital. Jonas and FLO realize later at Frederick's house that Nina's death was not an accident. Jewel tells them in the school library that the teacher her father had must have been between 1984 and 1988. They begin to look through the yearbooks when they notice a page is missing. Then they go to the school website and find a picture of Frederick with Maria Roth. They are shocked to learn that she drowned 4 years later. Meanwhile, Helena pays a visit to Frederick in the hospital, who is terrified. She accuses him of murdering her mother, and it is now revealed that Frederick is her biological father. He didn't want anything to do with her or her mother, so she's returned for vengeance. She reminds him that she still has Jonas and that she was responsible for his parents' deaths. The next morning, Jonas is awoken by an ambulance delivering his grandfather home, with Helena by his side. He is extremely suspicious now that he knows her secret, and he asks her why she is here. She tells him that she was visiting Frederick when the doctors told her that he would be discharged. When FLO calls, he asks her if her mother's name is Maria Roth. She tells him he must respond and that she will tell him everything before going inside to make coffee and pouring the powder into Jonas' cup. Frederick is powerless as she forces him to watch from the window. She serves Jonas coffee and informs him that her mother had an affair with his grandfather, making Helena his aunt. Jonas begins to feel the effects of the drug and passes out. She drags him into the lake and attempts to drown him. Jonas, with his last remaining energy, hits Helena with a net and begins running back to the house. He discovers Frederick on the ground, holding the letter Maria left him, with glass shattered all around. Helena pursues Jonas and begins to choke him. However, before he runs out of breath, he grabs a shard of glass and stabs her in the heart. Helena finally dies next to him. Jonas is on a ship a few days later when he sees a girl wearing a yellow raincoat similar to the one Helena used to wear. Disgusted, he follows the girl around, only to find out she's just a regular girl who asks if he's from the island. Jonas can now relax, knowing that he can begin a new chapter in his life. And this is where the movie comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know in the comments section below which movie you want us to recap next. As always, until the next time.